Hi, okay. So we're ready to start our dragon scale mittens, and I can't tell you how many times I started it, pulled, started, pulled, started. I got a little perturbed with it, but we figured it out. Now, before we start, let me tell you, this is why I keep scrap yarn from other projects. If I finish a project and I have scrap yarn left, I keep it because then I can go back before I start with my good yarn, which is very slippery and hard to unpull, unknit, uncrochet. Then I'll use this to practice until I know what I'm doing, which I'm not sure I still know what I'm doing. But, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to be making these. These are called dragon scales. Some people call them, I can't, my mind went blank. Some people call them mermaid scales. There's another word they use for them, and I can't remember. But what you'll see is when we start our base chain, we're going to just make V-stitches the whole way across. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, I'm going to just leave that there so that you can see. And then I'm going to use it later to tell you something else you can do with this stitch, which is really kind of cute if you like ruffles. But let's start with our dragon scales. Now, first of all, let me tell you, I'm using Red Heart yarn, and this is called the Unforgettable. Now, this yarn is a bulkier yarn. It's a worsted weight yarn, and they're calling for me to use a size J, which is even bigger than this hook. This is just an I, so it's one size bigger. But I am going down a little bit. I'm going down to an F size. So if you're using worsted weight, you can go clear down to an F size to get the size, and then to make the dragon scales look their best. That's another reason why I keep some scrap yarn, because with scrap yarn you can practice while you're not making projects. You can get it out, use a worsted, use all the different kind of even bigger needles, and see what they look like, see what they do for you, so you can play with yarn a little bit before you get into your good stuff. Okay, the first thing that we do when we start this is we go ahead and we make our first slip knot and then pull it through. Ooh, that was really cute, Carla. Woofda. So we make our slip knot. I had a stroke, so I know my hands are a little bit weaker, but they're not this week. Come on, people. There we go. Okay, so we have our first slip. Now I'm going to chain 40 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is, this is where we measure. I showed you in our last video how to go ahead and measure. You put the tape right below your knuckles, and you wrap it around your hand to the other side, and then you see where the 8 or where the 0 matches the number, and that's your size. So mine's a size 8. The other thing that you can do is, if you don't have one of those nice wrappy rulers, is I'm just going to take this. I hold this little tail with my thumb, and I wrap it. Now this is just a little bit big. You can see it goes past, but some of your slack's going to be taken up with this and with the dragon scale, so I'm not going to worry about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that our yarn chain is flat, because you don't want it twisted, and you saw how I did that. and then I'm going to take it across and slip stitch in that first chain that we made. So there we go. Then we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we're going to be working on is we're going to be making our foundation row, and the foundation row is just very simple. So the first chain 4 counts as our first double crochet and a chain 1 in the middle, and you're going to find that same stitch that you slip stitched to, and we're going to do a double crochet in that stitch. Like I said, this yarn's very slippery. So what we've done is we've actually made our first V. It's a little bit hard to see, but you can, it's right there. That's our first V. So we're going to do that across, and let me show you how we do that. So we get ready to make our double crochet. I'm going to wrap my yarn. I'm going to skip 2 of my chains on the base chain, and I'm going to double crochet in the 3rd one. And this yarn is very slippery. This was probably not the best choice for me to make these with. So once you have your first double crochet, you're going to chain 1, and that's going to make the top of our V. We're going to wrap and do another double crochet in that same stitch. So again, you have a V. We're going to do that across. Wrap, skip 2, double crochet in number 3, chain 1, double crochet in the same, double crochet, skip 2, double crochet in the 3rd one, chain 1, double crochet in that same stitch. So you're going to do that the entire way around, and I'm going to stop the video for now, but I'll be back in just a little minute so that we can connect these at the end with a slip stitch, and then we'll start our dragon scales. We'll start making these. Okay, so I'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, so once you're finished, I have 12 V stitches, and that's the amount I need. You're going to have a few stitches between your last one that you made and the first one you made, the first V stitches, and as you remember, we skip stitches between V's, so these are the stitches we're going to skip, and I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3. Remember, we made a chain stitch to make our first double crochet, and then we had an extra chain to make the chain. So I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3. And in the 3rd chain up, I'm going to do a slip stitch to connect these. Now, this looks a little wonky, but we are going to put a cuff on later, which will take this up, so it won't be so bad. Don't worry about it. So once you've gotten your V stitches, I'm going to point out that this first V is our first dragon scale. Then we're going to skip the 2nd one to start our next dragon scale, so be aware of that. And let's go ahead and do that. In order to do that, I'm going to chain 4, which counts as my, chain 3, which counts as my first double crochet front post. Now, in order to front post, if you haven't watched our other videos, we don't work, when you usually crochet, you crochet across the top of your work. But with the front post, you work around the stitch below. So what you're going to do is you're going to go between these 2 stitches and through the back, and that means that your needle is going to be coming, let me see if I can find a better one, your needle's going to be coming around the stitch like that. Instead of working on tops, we're going to be coming around. Okay, so let's do our first front post. Front posts are pretty. There's so many things you can do with them. In our last segment for our cap, we actually made a ribbing that looked like a knitted ribbing, and it was more stretchy. So front posts and back posts, there's a lot of things you can do. So I'm going to go ahead and go around that stitch, and I'm going to make my first double crochet. Now you may find, instead of keeping your work horizontal like you usually do when you're working a crochet, is to turn it vertically so that the stitch that you're doing your front posts around is on the top of your work. It just makes it a little bit easier to manage. So there we have one. We're going to do 4 in this particular V because our chain counts as 1 double crochet. So there you have it. And then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to look for the second half of that V, which is right there. And again, I turn my work so that this comes to the back and this comes on top. And then I go ahead and do 5 posts, 1 front posts, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I caught something wrong. I snagged something. Yeah, this yarn is very tricky. I don't recommend it. 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we've done our first dragon scale. At the top of this 5th, we don't do anything. We just get ready. We skip the next V entirely, find the first double crochet of our next V. That's the one we're going to work on. So I'm slipping that around, and we start double crocheting again around that post. So there's 1, 2, 3, and remember we're doing 5 on this, 4, 5. We're going to chain 1 at the bottom. You always chain 1 at the bottom. It just gives it a little bit more of a space here. At the top we don't need it. And then we're going to find the second double crochet of our V, and I turn my work so that that's at the top, and then I'm going to go ahead and do 5 front post double crochets on that one. 1, 2, 3, 3. This was not a good choice for me, this yarn. 4, 5. Okay, so you can see we have 2 dragon scales. I'm going to let you finish clear to the other side. When you've done your last, you should have 1 empty one at the end. When you've done your last dragon scale, you will just go ahead and slip stitch into the top. And I'll be back when we're ready to do that. Okay, we're back. So I have all of my dragon scales around. I'm at my last one, and I can tell it's my last one because there's my first one, and I have a V-stitch. We're going to skip that V-stitch, and I'm really sorry, this yarn's so slippery. I'm going to go ahead and do a slip stitch, oops, in the top chain of my last dragon scale. So they are all connected. Okay, let's go on to our second row. So for our second one, we're going to slip stitch across until we get into the center of this V-stitch, and that's not hard. I think it's only 1 stitch we have to slip. And a slip stitch is, it just acts as if you're going to crochet it, but then you just pull it through. And there it is. I'm going to go in there. So it was 2. So I'm in the middle of that one, and we're going to do that again. We're going to make V's the whole way across, and I'm going to show you there's a little trick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, that's 3 of them is the double crochet and 1 is the chain across. And then we're going to double crochet in that same space, making our first V. Now, my yarn's getting tangled, so sorry. This is a little tricky. You can see here is our V-stitch on the other side that we skipped. We do want to make a V-stitch in that, but we want to take it under our dragon scale. So let's wrap our yarn, go under our dragon scale, and then look on the back to make sure we're coming up in the middle of that V-stitch, and go ahead and do your first double crochet of our V, make a chain, and do the same thing. Go under it and then through. And I just keep looking because it's a little tricksy. You can actually get caught somewhere else. So what you have is your V-stitch actually goes between your two dragon scales. Okay, and we're going to do that the whole way across, and there are no chains at the top. There's just a wrap, go in the dragon scale V, make your double crochet, chain one at the top, and then go ahead and make your second double crochet, which these become our V's. Again, let's do this one more time together. Wrap it, go under your dragon scale, find your V. Now see, it would be very easy to go in the wrong spot. So look on the back and go in that V, make your first double crochet, chain one, and do it again. And I just always check to make sure I'm in the V because it's very easy to get just one off and mess you up. Okay, let's go ahead and make another one in this dragon scale. Double crochet, chain one, double crochet in the same space. And let's do this one. I might as well do the whole thing with you. So we're going to go under the dragon scale, find our V, go through the V, and then pull up and do a double crochet, chain one, do the same thing. And then another double crochet, chain one, double crochet for our V in there. And you can see we're making V's the whole way across again. And this is just such a pretty little stitch. Okay, go under and through the V. Whoops, there we go. And then this one. Oh dear, see how slippery that is. And my left hand's not real strong yet. It's getting there, but it's still kind of boogerish. And especially this slick yarn. I do okay with regular wool because it's got a little bit of grab to it. But this does not have any grab. And then our last one. Well, we have two more. Go under, through the V, and then double crochet. Chain, double crochet in the same spot. Okay, double crochet in our dragon stitch. Oops, chain between them, sorry. Double crochet, chain, double crochet. And this should be our last one coming up. Okay, so we're going to go between them into the V. The V is a little bit hard to find on this one. There we go. Go ahead and make your double crochet, chain one, do it again. Yep, there you go. And now we're back at the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're going to count up 3, 1, 2, 3, and in that third chain we're going to go ahead and make a slip stitch. Because the chain 3 is our first double crochet, so to speak, and then we have another chain across to make our V. Oh, look how cute that is. That's just dorbs. Very dorbs. Okay, so basically what you're going to do is you're just going to do that again. Now we're going to chain 4, remember. 1, 2, 3, 4, no, 3, I'm sorry, 3 on this one. It's 4 when we're making our V's and 3 when we're making our dragon scales. Sorry, go back, not yet. Because we don't want to do our next dragon scale overlaying this one. We actually want to make our dragon scale right here. So, what I think we have to do, I have notes. Yeah, we have to slip stitch. So you see we have a V in our dragon scale and a V in our second dragon scale. Then we have a V between them. That's the one, the V between them is the one that we want to go ahead and make our next dragon scale. So I'm going to slip stitch in my chains and in my double crochets until I get to the middle of that V. Okay? So this is where we're going to do chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to go ahead and do our front posts, 5 of them, right? 5 front posts, 1, or 4, I'm sorry, because that chain actually counts as the first double crochet. So there's 3, 4. So that first chain counts as 1 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to chain 1 and we're going to come up the second side of that V with front posts, 5 of them this time. 1. Gosh, this is so slippery. Oh. 2. It's good for me though. It's really helping to strengthen my hand. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now you can see that dragon scale overlays that one. And that's what you're going to do the whole way around. You're going to skip the one that's in the below dragon scale. Do your next 5 front posts. This is where my frustration comes in, because I used to just not have to think much to do these kind of things. Now I have to think hard. 2, 3, 4, 5. Chain 1 and then go up the second side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let me pull my yarn so that I can show you what this is starting to look like. Okay, so you can see it's really starting to overlay each other. And this will actually get pulled once we get it connected. So you're going to do that around, and then you're going to do another layer of your V stitches. Remember to go in between the dragon scales, go in between, and then check to make sure you're coming out the V stitch on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and let you finish that. I haven't decided how many rows of this we're going to do. I'm thinking we'll do 5. You should have 5 rows of dragon scale. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I will be back to show you what we're going to do next. Okay, have fun with this. This is a really cute little stitch. This oh, let me tell you if you want to make a ruffle. So when you're doing your base, when you make dragon scales, you skip a V between them. But if you want ruffles, you'll do each V as a dragon scale. So this one, I won't skip here. I'll just go ahead and do my 5 front posts down, chain 1, 5 up, and you'll do each one. And then these get very tight to where they look like ruffles. And this would be cute on a jacket or a collar or even a hat. That would be really cute on a hat. So play with your yarn. Have a good time with your yarn. Okay, I'm tired. I'm done for the day. After we get our 5 rows of dragon scales, I'll be back in maybe maybe a day or two. Give me a couple days to kind of get recuperated, and I have to do my work too. And I will be back and show you how we're going to finish it, and then how we're going to put a cuff on down at the bottom. And you can make your cuff as long as you want when we get there. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you again in a day or two. Bye-bye.